Hello folks, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back. And you probably wonder what I'm doing here. Well, in the upcoming video we're going to work on this little house that you have in the back of me. This is what we call an oven house, very common in the 18th and the 19th century on the farms where I live. Farmers used to make their own bread, and they would bake once a week, maybe 10-15 breads, depending how big the family was. And for that they needed an oven. And that oven was typically inside an oven house like this. We call it an oven muur. When I got the farm, this oven house was totally collapsed, as you see in the picture. So I already had it rebuilt about 25-30 years ago. And since then I haven't done much with it. So now it's time to freshen it up, and you'll see that in the upcoming video on how we're going to take care of this wall, how we're going to reapply chalk paint, how we're going to clean up the site. And typically the oven house was found in the back of the farm. So let's have a look inside, what this is all about. So here is the actual oven. This was a hood to get the smoke out of the house. And then we have some wood on the sides. Underneath there's a storage place. Now on my left I have a cooling system, and that shouldn't have been here, but we installed it inside here because I needed it for my office space at the time. But we'll take care of this as well. We'll kind of hide it behind some wooden planks so it doesn't show up like it does show up right now. While I was rebuilding the oven house at the time, I found this old pulley here. It's a pretty nice old artifact, and as you can see, we got plenty of cobwebs around. Here is that oven door, and this is not the original one. This is another old one that we found. And then inside we actually got the oven. And I'll let you have a peek inside in a second. Now the funny thing is that this oven doesn't have a chimney at all. No chimney inside, because that would cool down the oven after the wood was burned. So what we're going to do with this oven is we're going to clean it up completely inside. I know I already have changed all the bricks inside before when I did rebuild it. But for the rest the oven was kind of intact. And once we're done with cleaning up the oven and making sure that it all works again, we probably will change the door as well. Because I have the original door right here. As you can see, that's a pretty heavy, nasty one. I will shot blast this, and then we'll put it back on with some adaptations. And the way this oven was used, people would open this up, they would put wood inside the oven, they would put fire to it, they leave the door open, and the fumes would come out this way, and this hood was supposed to catch it to avoid too much smoke in this room. And then here we have an opening for the chimney, so the smoke would come out and disappear right there in the chimney. And once the bricks turned white, that meant the oven was on temperature, and then they pulled out the wood. They might have left some ashes behind. They use a wet cloth to clean the floor, and then they would put in their bread and then close the door and let it sit for the time it has to sit. So this is how they used to do it. This is the oven, and these are the tiles I was referring to. And when they turn white, then the oven is hot enough. So these are metal bars, and then you have bricks that are on top of it. So this is what we're going to make sure of, that all this is going to be fine. Now the floor is a brick floor, as you can see. So we need to clean all this up. And in the middle of the floor, we have a blue stone, a huge blue stone. It's a pretty weird one, and I've been trying to figure out what it is, because there is some text on it. It's hard to see, but there is text on it. So if you look closely, you can see there's a D, an O, and an M. So that really sounds like something that's of somebody who died. But we'll try to figure out what all these letters are. And here I think we have some kind of a crest. So let's see if we can expose something. Now I can see it looks like a squirrel almost. That we do see a crown here. And this is either a fox or a squirrel. I'm not sure. So this must have been a crest of someone. And that's something we can look up for sure. But all of this you will see coming up very soon in the upcoming video. Oh man, there's a lot of cobwebs here. And underneath the oven we have this storage place. This is where we could place the wood, and it is nicely built. You can see it's very strong. We need to clean up these walls, and there's a lot of stuff hanging on these walls that we can just probably wipe off or blast off. So most likely I will clean it up with some shot blasting, but also on the floor we've got a brick floor. Wipe some of that stuff. And you already see the bricks coming, right? So there's a complete old brick floor underneath. Now a lot of this black stuff, I think what they did is they tossed the ashes from the oven in here. It would make sense because probably the ashes were just still warm as well, and then that would even heat up that part. All right, but all of this, it's coming in an upcoming video, probably about somewhere next week. So keep an eye out, because somewhere next week the full video will be out where we have deciphered the code on that stone on the floor, where we will have the walls cleaned up. We'll have painted the outside walls with chalk-based paint with some explanations. We'll have cleaned up the left-hand side where we have the cooling system, and then we'll probably build a new door as well for the oven. So, and at the end, I'm going to prove to you that you can make a very good pizza inside this oven. And of course, we'll have to deal with all the cobwebs, that's for sure. Bye-bye, and I see you somewhere next week.